So if you're chasing that next big moment or that next big accomplishment or, that outside validation, if you will, which is, one of the how I came up with the title, You've Been Validated, because the only stamp of approval we need is our own.
Born in 92 on the block with the Sharks. Come from a different cloth, y'all would get ripped apart. You want it diamond, then you gotta get it in the dark. We dropping nuggets like Carmelo went to Rucker Park. Now we eating from state to state, we scrape the plate. I put my eggs in a basket, took a leap of faith. I took a chance, now we grow and see the impact. Decoding success with special guests, now let's bring Matt.
Valerie, how can someone become their best friend after years and years of being their biggest critic?
Wow. Big one. You always start off with those big questions.
You have to.
I love that about you. I was kind of ready for it because I was listening and I was like, what's he going to throw at me? But no, I'm not trying to deflect. What this term and this phrase, being your own best friend, was one that my mother just kind of always said to me. Because she knows how hard I am on myself. And I think that's just the way the human person is wired. That's just the science behind it. Even though I'm not a psychologist. But you have to get good with yourself. And you have to take a step back and put in the work. And how do you do that? Well, there's lots of ways. I myself have gone to a lot of therapy.
I love therapy.
Getting to know yourself and getting to recognize how you can actually stop and, respond instead of react, taking that beat. But also another good way to be your own best friend is like, if you're having a moment where you're just stuck in your head, because this happens, I have racing thoughts all the time. And it's like learning how to deal with them in a productive and positive manner. So it could be something as small as changing the environment that you're in. Whether I like to go for a run. I'm a big runner. It's a good way for me to clear my head. But that's a strategy to help myself. It's not necessarily like the answer of how I become my best friend. It's one thing. And that's the thing. Lots of little things count towards the goal of being your own best friend. So, I mean, I'm a perfectionist at heart. I want things to be perfect. But at the end of the day, you don't overthink. That's a really good way to be your best friend. Just kind of, do the research and then execute to the best of your ability. If something, example, me coming here, meeting you in person for the first time, I want to come on this pod. I want to crush it. I want your listeners to get something really incredible from it. But it's like, all I can do is listen to your format and be myself. And that's enough to know that like, that's my best friend, Val. Like, don't try to emulate what someone else is doing. Stay focused. Yeah, I like that resonated, right?
Yeah.
With all, I mean, I think noise is used quite a bit, but with all the noise out there and comparing ourselves to others and just the fact that we can see everything else going on in other people's lives that might be in a similar space as us, stop that. Use it for good. Like, understand what's out there, understand what you can create and the goals that you want to reach. I think understanding is a good way to be your own best friend instead of comparing.
Yeah. I like that you share the sentiment of like, give your best, give your all, even if your all is not 100%, right? Because like it's going to vary from day to day. I really appreciate that. And I think that's really important. And I think when you can shift to that particular, whatever that is, a mindset or a way of being, whatever it is, like I think that's how you start to quiet the critic.
Yes.
But like what I'm hearing you say is like the critic still is alive in you, but you've befriended the critic.
Yes. Oh my God. That's such a beautiful way of putting it. I love the, that way of looking at it. And you kind of just put it into words for me. It's even like something like this, we happen to, we record, we're here, it's early in the morning, who knows when it'll get released. But it's like, I typically like to start my day a certain way, right? And routine is great. But today I just didn't have time to work out before I came here. And that's okay. And I have to say, Val, like push that to the side and focus on where you are right now and be so grateful for where you are right now and what you're doing. Instead of, oh my goodness, what else do I have to do? What else do I have to get done? Do I have enough time to do it? Am I going to make sure that my day is like 100% the way it should be? And by being in the now, which is, something that I think every expert in terms of like the self-help community says, if you worry about the future, that's where anxiety comes from, ruminating on the past, no good, being right here, right now. And that's sometimes difficult for me to stay present.
What do you do to help yourself stay present?
Sometimes I just stop myself.
Were you just pinching yourself?
No, I made a joke. I was going to say, I pinch myself. No. That's like kind of a funny joke. It is a reminder.
Yeah.
It is a reminder. I actually like have to tell myself, stop, take a minute. Like I recognize it and I either say it in my head or out loud and just be. Like even before I got here, because I have a big week coming up, I was like, how much can I get done before the pod? Yeah. And guess what? It made me feel good to do a little bit. That's plenty. And so many of us are just like trying to keep up with the Joneses. That was an expression. I don't know if your listeners
I know what it is. I know what it is.
But we're all just trying to like, everybody wants to be somebody nowadays. Like that's, I think, what we're coming across. And that's a great thing to have drive and ambition. And I love that. But in having this drive and ambition, believing that what you're doing is enough is the best way to be your own best friend. Patting yourself on the back for every small accomplishment, even if you're taking steps, one step at a time is great. Let's say crappy yesterday. I didn't get enough sleep. All those things that we do to ourselves sometimes because it just happens. Life happens. We can't control everything. And that's okay. You have to recognize it's okay. And so for me, I think of my mom's voice and she says, Valerie, because she's the person I love the most in this world. Of course, my brother too. But she says, Valerie, stop. Be your own best friend because she knows me better than anyone else.
So you have an anchor.
Yes. And I have a reminder, whether she's here with me in the room or not.
Yeah.
Like, think about the person that you love the most and that you respect the most and how they would want you to treat yourself and how they treat you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then think of that person's voice telling you that you deserve to be your own best friend. How can you be nice to yourself? And that's what I consider being my own best friend.
I love that. What if someone has these so many people do, right?
Yeah.
These massive, massive goals, but they're just simply not happy with like where they are in comparison to them.
So another beautiful question. And it's interesting because my new book, You've Been Validated, a playbook for confidence and connection. People kept asking me, who's your audience? Who's your audience? Who's your audience? And as I defined my audience, because it's so important to know who we're talking to, obviously, what was more important to me than saying, they're this age and they have this income and they come from this demographic and they enjoy playing soccer on the weekends. For me, it was more about who is in tune with wanting to love themselves and, just be good to themselves and also, tackle goals and ambitions. And what I say to those people is no matter where you're at, it's where you're supposed to be. But what you have to do is reassociate your mind with like being uncomfortable or being scared. You have to realign those thoughts with accomplishments, even if the accomplishment hasn't, been completed yet. Because they even say when you're planning a big event, whether it's a wedding, for me, it was my book party. My mom was like, wait, take a second in this. Like it's the planning stages that are such a huge part of this. So think about every step that you take or moment that you think about something and you put it into action. That even if you're at the job you don't want to be, or you're not in the position of power that you think you should be at the moment, where you're at is right. And you have to believe that, because the only thing that saying, oh, this isn't right for me is counterproductive. Like that, you're only going to hurt yourself. And I have been in so many scenarios where I've like been, darn it, shoot, I'm upset. I don't love this. I'm being treated poorly. I should be in a better situation. I'm better than this. Guess what? Just because you're not in the position where you want to be doesn't mean you're not in the right place. You have to recognize that you're where you need to be, and you have to take steps to get yourself out of it. But that's just part of the journey.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And it
but
makes
where
a ton
you're
of
at
sense.
in that sense, where you're at right now, I'm supposed to be nowhere else but in this chair.
Yeah.
Because the moment you get away from that, you're only doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. I always try to give myself the reminder that if you were meant to be somewhere else, you would be.
Yeah.
I think what people struggle with, including myself, is accepting where they are, though.
Right.
Like it's the acceptance part of it. And I think it's a hard task to balance ambition, drive, etc., with surrender, acceptance, etc.
I completely get it. And it's funny too, because they always say like who you're around is, who you become and who you are. And in my book, I actually talk about building a confidence community, which are people that are exceptional to me. But I also want to point out that it doesn't matter how much money you have, what your status is, in terms of the way society looks at. I believe that character is currency. And I cannot say that enough. And every single person brings value in my life that I interface with. Because whether it's somebody that I see working really hard and not in the most financially successful space, but doing it with pride and knowing that they're, taking care of their family and themselves, to me, that in and of itself is the most like beautiful thing to respect and value. And like, it's interesting because there is a porter in the building that lives next door to me. And I always see him outside. Every day I'm going for a run. And like we were talking about the audience or, who our viewership is. And even for my book, and you've been validated, he was like, he bought my book. This is a man that obviously works very hard.
So nice, yeah.
That works very hard, and he wanted to support me. And he said to me, he was outside smoking a cigarette, which I don't like, but I'll give him a break. And he said, can I talk to you just 2 minutes? And I said, oh my gosh, of course. Because in that 2 minutes, I was able to get feedback from him of what he thought about my book and how it affected him. And to see that, it like lit up my entire day. Yeah. But more importantly, the fact that he saw I was taking time for him, to me, that's what's important. To me, that's what life is about. And as a fast-paced person, it was such a good reminder to slow down, to hear people. And that when it was, to me, that's reaping rewards. Whether I sell, 100,000 books or affect one person in such a profound way and can teach somebody something, or, he's teaching me as well when we have this feedback and this conversation. That was just such a beautiful moment to me. So I know that he wants to grow as a human being, and where he is professionally is good for him right now, but he has other goals and aspirations that he didn't necessarily know that he could go for. Yeah. And I'm glad I could help be like the cheerleader on the side from the book.
I love that.
To, push him out of his comfort zone to go
How do you set your intention, right? Because what I'm hearing is that your intention is more so on the impact, which it comes from your heart, yes, versus like inside of you, versus on the things that are outside of us, such as the book sales, right? Like it's a cool byproduct of whatever, putting a book out into the world. But like for you personally, how did you shift into the intention of leading with your heart versus like all of the shit that's in the world that we want, followers and whatnot? Yeah,
it's interesting because I have always led my life in a very authentic manner. Like I'm always myself. So it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I mean, granted, there are different versions of ourselves based on our mood,
of course,
how we're feeling and all that stuff. But typically I'm a high vibrational person, and I've just kind of always been that way. And so it's not something that I actually had to teach myself. When people, they always say like, take your 5 best friends and like ask them what they think of you so that you can see how you're perceived by the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And oftentimes, and even when I take stock in myself, what I'm emitting, because I am a TV personality, what I'm emitting on screen and how I make the audience feel, and warmth and connection has always been something, a strength that I have and I own and I embody. And I live and breathe into the world with or without the cameras. It's just how I live my life, and it's a gift.
Yeah.
And it's a gift that I hold in my heart and I'm extremely proud of. And so I don't necessarily have to like train myself to be that way. I'm just lucky to be that way. But I feel as though I have a duty to share that with other people because it makes me feel really good. And I see how it affects them, being a natural born cheerleader for other people and having that innate ability to bring people together as an extrovert, which is one of the reasons and was a driving factor in writing my book. And it's funny because you mentioned like book sales and, the business components of it. And of course, I want to be extremely successful in that space. And I will be. And I am. Because I'm spreading that into the world. Yeah. And I know the material is good. And I believe in what I put pen to paper.
Yeah.
I even voiced my own audiobook, which was like
That's so cool.
Cathartic in a lot of ways because it is a leadership manifesto, they call it. My mom doesn't like the word manifesto. I'm like, so I was like, Mom, don't worry. It just means it's a little bit of my journey sprinkled in with my expertise and the expertise of others and strategies of how to become your own best friend, connect, walk up to the most powerful person in the room. And so the way that that's what I want to hear feedback. I want to hear how this book is affecting people. The impact is what really is like.
Yeah, it's what's driving you. Yeah.
It's so fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you were to put it into a step-by-step for someone to like live a more authentic life, right? It comes natural to you.
Sure.
But maybe not for someone else. Sure. So like, what would you tell them to like step into their authentic self?
You have to love who you are. And the way you were brought into this world. I mean, there's a lot. There's environmental factors. There is obviously your genetic makeup, but there's only one person that can do it like you. There's only one person that can do it like Mr. LeBris. And now that I know how to pronounce your name. And that is a superpower that should be shared with the world. So once you tell yourself that and you start seeing how who you are is needed in this world. So for example, like I'm an extrovert, but I need introverts in my life. I need people that are slower than me in terms of how they communicate and their Zen vibe. It makes me better. So the way that you are, whoever you are out there, whether your name is Shelly Green, whether you're, I'm just making up a name.
Yeah.
Shelly Green, you're incredible. You are just as good as Joe Schmo, whomever you're comparing yourself to. There's no one that can do it like Shelly Green. So I truly believe that there's no right or wrong way to become your authentic self. It's to lean into it. You have to just tell yourself that there's no one else like you. There are things that we can do to improve who we are, of course, and all these self-help habits that we can take up, which is one of the reasons I wrote the book, because I want to share those with people. But recognizing that there's only one of you and that's needed in the world, even if you're different from somebody that you see as successful, like believing in that you're great is how the other world, the world will actually be able to soak in all the goodness that you have to share.
So what is someone doing wrong that's not loving themselves?
Beating themselves up. And for me, it's interesting because I talk about like growing up in the book. I touch on it. And I even have a psychotherapist that I interviewed, a good friend of mine, Dr. Robbie Ludwig. We don't get too sciencey, but I do discuss like who we are and what we go through, as youth, I think bring us into who we become today. And for me, I was a nervous kid. I wasn't a great test taker. And my teachers explained that to my mom. And, I just struggled with stress and anxiety. That's not because like any extent, factors that were happening in my life. It was just like, that's kind of how I was wired.
Yeah.
So then it was like, what can we do for Valerie to make her feel better about herself? And anywho, so I figured that out like super young. My 4th grade teacher was like, Valerie, you don't have to get on her. That's what she told my mom. She's going to get on herself. Like she's not going to think it's good enough, whatever she did. And being able to see that and uncover, things that aren't easy to sit with, again, which we'll get into that as well. I want to talk about that too. I think was very important to discover early on. But also, I was bullied when I was younger in 6th grade. And it's crazy what's ingrained in our minds. Because there wasn't like, I had like a photo of myself like in that time. But, and I touch on this in the book too. And I firmly believe that experience that was cruel and uncomfortable and very difficult to deal with as a child turned me into somebody who is a natural born cheerleader for others, wants to bring people together, wants to make sure everyone feels included. And that's a gift that I will absolutely share with the world every day. And I turned that awful negativity into something fantastic.
Yeah. Why were you bullied?
That's the funny part. There wasn't anything that, from the outside eye would have been, oh, well, let's bully Val. And it's interesting, like, why is any kid bullied, right? That's right. Why? Because that's an interesting, like, what elementary schooler, why would you bully somebody? They don't have like the mental capacity to recognize why they're bullying somebody. But I think it was because maybe they could see my nerve. I mean, there's no fault of my own. It's just like, I do remember that I did not come from a lot of money. And I was raised in a community where other people were a bit more affluent. I mean, money is a different thing here in New York now. I mean, we see crazy money, but that was a little bit part of it. Yeah. And I touch on it in the book. A girl kept telling me she was going to pick me up. She lived in the gated, expensive community. So I kept running across the street. She said, I'll pick you up at the parking lot across the school, like with my mom. And I was a 6th grader. And I mean, it was absolute hell. But then in high school, everything flipped and everything changed. And I didn't let that get to me. And perhaps seeing that I was doing nothing wrong and there was no fault based on my situation and where I came from. Because if somebody's bullying, whether they're a kid or not, that's on them. Yeah. They don't like themselves. And anybody that has been in this situation, regardless of their age, has got to know. They'll get through these hard times. And those people, I just hope they can come to terms with how they
what's going on inside of them.
Grow through it, and fix themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that happens in adulthood too, right? It's not even just childhood.
But when you're an adult, you have the power to say, you know what, this person is not good for my inner circle.
For sure.
My soul, I'm moving on. Like, we don't have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even like as an adult, I see even in moments of myself where like I might make a remark and it's more of a reflection of what I feel inside than what is actually being portrayed by like an individual like yourself. So for example, you know, if someone, like if I'm in a mood and someone's like on the top of the mountain, like maybe there's a remark, but that's not a reflection of them. So, you know?
Yeah. And by the way, we're all allowed to be in a mood. We don't always have to, we're not always our best selves. Like that's the fact of the matter. But I think that if we can put ourselves in a headspace to try to feel good. And it's funny too, because through therapy, like I learned I was more afraid of feeling the emotions and being in them than the actual emotions themselves. Like, does that make sense to you?
It does, but what were the emotions?
Well, like being stressed or anxious. Like I would push it away. Push it away. Even now. But like if you can say to yourself, why am I feeling this way? Like be in it. Don't be scared to be in it. And then recognize that's how you get through. Because we all want to run away from difficult things or feelings. But the moment we embrace them, really like see why they're there. I think they call that shadow work too. Like basically like going deepest into like dark times in your life. And that's kind of how you move forward and you break through. And honestly, taking stock in like every small thing that you do to be good to yourself.
What would you say to Val that was running away from the feelings? Like, is there something that you would say from what you've learned with all the work that you've done? Like, because I agree, and I was very much so the same way. It was just numb. Yeah. So like, would you say something in particular to her?
I'm so proud of who I've become and how I lead my life. Yes, there have been things in the past that, I mean, there's always ways that like we don't necessarily show up for ourselves the way we should.
Yeah.
But the growth and where I am now and who I've become and how I try to live my life every single day to make myself feel good and those around me. And just knowing that I come from a good place.
Yeah.
I'm just so proud of who I've become and owning where my strengths might not necessarily be and learning and being open to the fact that I want to be my best self every day and that I put in the work to be that person.
Yeah. I love that.
It's an empowering feeling.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because we get into relationships for different reasons and we, aren't, quote unquote, as successful as we should be, as we were talking about earlier in terms of like getting to being okay with where we are in life. And I am just like, I can honestly say I'm in a good place. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not more work to be done because it's a constant. Like, we're on this journey. We're on this path. It's not linear. There's going to be amazing days. There's going to be days that are just like baseline.
Yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
also is something that I had to get good with. Because like I love those exciting highs of, I book a big TV appearance. You reach out for the podcast opportunity. I have a book deal. Like these are all amazing things. Or I met a cute guy. Like all these great things that are high highs. But you have to realize that like not every day and every moment is going to be a high and that's okay.
Hey everyone, pausing this episode to share something with you. In a world of hyper competitiveness, I think the best quote that I can share with you is that there is no one in the world youer than you, and that is truer than true, which is exactly why I wanted to share with you today about Brand Builders Group. It's an organization I've been working with over the last few months. It is absolutely incredible, and today I am sharing with you the opportunity to hop on a free brand call with a brand strategist to help you break through the wall of obscurity. We are in a hyper competitive space at the moment, whether it be on social or with your podcast or with your blog or with your books or getting on stage. No matter what your endeavor is, this is an opportunity for you to hop on a free strategy call with someone from the team to be able to help you navigate the waters of making sure that you are breaking through the wall and taking advantage of all of the opportunities that you most definitely deserve. Again, there is no one in the world youer than you. So no matter what the problem is that you solve, there might be other people that are out there that also solve the same problem, but there is a strategy that can be placed into your initiatives that will help you break through that wall with speed. So I want to to share this with you. It is freebrandcall.com/Matt LeBris. That is going to be in the show notes of this episode, whether you're tuned in from audio or through YouTube, whatever it is, freebrandcall.com/Matt LeBris.
And that's also been something that I've struggled with in the past. Like, you're going to just have those days that are just okay.
How do you get comfortable with that?
Got to be grateful for it. And again, it's not something that's instant. It takes work. And it's checking in with myself the moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I trying to get to this? I'm like looking for something that's, it's almost like chasing the party.
Yeah.
That analogy. No, don't chase like the next big high. Be in where you are and it will naturally come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, first of all, I love what you're sharing because.
And thank you for giving me such a safe space to do it.
Yeah.
You're
I
very
appreciate
good at what
that.
you do. And I'm super happy to be open.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think getting used to, used to is such a weird word. I guess like accepting the flatline days where it's like, that's a really powerful thing to do.
Well, so it's so funny because like, when you finding a great therapist is really difficult. And sometimes like, actually like the research that you do to find the therapist is like the most hard thing in the whole therapy process, But I've had a couple really good ones. And I say couple because, health insurance changes sometimes, right? But no, in all seriousness, getting curious, there are a few things that I learned as takeaways that like, regardless if you're in therapy or not, can be extremely helpful, especially when you're having those hard moments. And it's being curious. So like something as simple and asking yourself why. So you just said to me, what did you ask me? You said to me, how am I okay with those flatline days?
Yeah.
I'm okay with those flatline days because I asked myself, why am I uncomfortable in them? Be curious, Val. And Val, you're uncomfortable. This is me taking like stock in it and assessing it and not overthinking it, but just, saying, Valerie, you're uncomfortable with those things because you want to get to your next high moment. You associate success with, checking off an accomplishment. But guess what? As I write about in the book, that's not the only way. Having an accomplishment or like being productive is not the only way to be productive. Learning about yourself right now, me sitting in that and being curious, why am I that way? Well, it's the way I operate, but taking a step back and looking at it from a curious perspective is kind of how I create the space to say, no, this is normal. Normal is good and baseline is good.
Yeah.
And don't run away from that. Don't chase
Were you running
the next
away
thing
from
because
that?
it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Well, chasing things is tiring. So if you're chasing that next big moment or that next big accomplishment or, that outside validation, if you will, which is, one of the how I came up with the title, You've Been Validated, because the only stamp of approval we need is our own. So if I can stamp that and say, this moment is where I need to be, Val, but you're chasing that next big thing because it's the way your mind is wired and it's who you are as a human being. But you have to stop because you have to put in the work and you have to say, it's okay. Remind yourself, be curious. And that's how the domino effect, life will go on. And it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And you'll get that next big high, that next big exciting moment. But that's not all that life's made up of. And you need to be present for all of it.
Yeah. Were you chasing external validation?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of us do. It's the world that we're in. I always want to be as beautiful as I can on the outside. And, I go running so I can be my solid size 4, from, an aesthetic perspective.
Sure.
I want to feel, I'm getting hit on by this person or I look great. But guess what? What does my heart look like? How am I making other people feel? And don't get me wrong, outside beauty is very important to me. But at the same time, that's not really what matters in life. What matters in life is how you make other people feel.
But if it has a particular intention.
Yeah. So that's like, so for me, like I go running to clear my head. I go running to feel good about myself. Oh yeah. I'm not saying like, don't do those things because of the fact that, you should have a guilt because you want to look good. No, I absolutely want to look amazing because that also plays into like how I feel about myself and self-esteem. So I think it's so important to do all of these things to feel strong, to feel like you can command a room. And I think that by taking care of yourself, that's the difference. You have to associate it as taking care of yourself as opposed to like, oh, I want to get lip injections because I want my lips to look like Kylie Jenner. No. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not what I want. I am very good with who I am. I want to be the best Val. What does that entail? It entails with taking care of myself, eating well, drinking less, sleeping more, you know, all those things. But do I do that every day? No. And guess what? On the days that I don't do it, I can't beat myself up. And that's part of being your own best friend, and it all circles back. But if I focus on, you know, the 4 times this week I did work out and the 5 out of 7 days I did eat well and, you know, the stretching that I did 2 days and surrounding myself with the good people. So if you focus on all those things, that's going to bring about a more positive mentality.
Yeah.
You know, don't say, oh my gosh, my teeth aren't as white as I want them to be. Okay, go out, get Crest white strips. Like, listen, I love looking good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
And I honestly am, I think, my best self when I look good, because then I feel good about myself and I know I'm putting in the work. But realize that it's an impossible thing to keep up with other people in terms of like competitively in a beauty world. And also like, if you're not on Ozempic, that's okay. Like truly, I have so many friends on it. I have friends that are sizes 00 on it. And that's okay. It's hard. Like there's just an impossible, don't keep up with other people. And in this society where we see other people getting super successful because of their looks, you gotta take a step back and say, listen, what is right for me in this moment?
Yeah.
And I don't have to keep up with anyone else.
What if, so as I'm sitting here, the question that pops into my mind is, what if someone takes this, like, be your best friend advice too far? Meaning they start to utilize that as a tool to not do the healthy things that they're meant to do.
Like as an excuse kind of thing?
As an excuse, exactly.
Well, I actually think that the information in the book would be very difficult to misconstrue. Because the fact of the matter is, it's not like giving yourself a free pass. It's clearly more about like letting yourself off the hook when you do something that's not great. So if you have something that's habitual, I talk about breaking bad habits in the book. So if you have a bad habit, like I would say, and you're really, I mean, and there's lots of different bad habits. I mean, there's things that like, you know, on the light side, let's say nail biting, but then there's also like, there's nail biting to binge drinking.
Right,
and it's like you have to like take a real assessment of your life and say like, how am I treating myself? What am I doing to myself? And recognizing that the only person you're hurting with this habit is yourself. And one of the strategies that I used to do something is because I'm nervous and anxious to get over my nail biting habit was to say, well, how does it make you feel, Val, when you're looking at your chewed up nails? That's pretty disgusting. You don't like it. That's gross. No one's going to want to hold your hand. It kind of shows like that you're anxious. Like that's not good. And for me, it's something I kicked, well over, 2 decades ago, but you can't give yourself a pass. Don't beat yourself up, but you got to be able to ask for help when you need help. You've got to be able to recognize and look at yourself in the mirror and have a hard conversation with yourself. So that's what I say to people when they constantly are giving themselves passes. Let yourself off the hook a couple times. But if it's habitual, that's when you need to take a hard look in the mirror and say, what do I need to do? And that's why your community is so important. It's okay to ask for help. And those are really important things to look at.
Yeah. You mentioned confidence community before. What is that?
Yeah. So I assembled a confidence community and I want to encourage everyone to do so. So it's basically my inner circle of friends, people that inspire me, but also people that have those real hard conversations with me. So it's a little bit of both, because we always say, oh, I want to be around this person because they make me feel good. But guess what? Sometimes tough love is exactly what you need and being challenged. And it's so important to have an inner circle of people that you can have those difficult conversations with, that have your back, but you can also learn from and learn about yourself from. So for me, I put together this really inspiring community of friends, some of which are public figures that I'm sure your viewers would know. I've got everybody from Harry Carson, who was the captain of the New York Giants for 10 years and an NFL Hall of Famer, to Countess Luann de Lesseps. So for all you pop culture junkies out there, you're definitely going to want to take a look at who's in my confidence community, because, our mutual friend Dale Moss is in the book, who we know from the Bachelor franchise. But it's interesting because all these people that are public figures that happen to be friends of mine, it's like we see them, you know, in the public eye. But there are so many layers to who they are. And I'm so excited that they were able to get vulnerable with me and share their stories and talk about how they become their most confident and their hard days and, you know, how they feel about connecting and how we connected. And yeah, and people that basically inspire me to be my best self. Like I sit down in a room with somebody who's achieved, like one of my best friends is Dr. Pimple Popper, and she's in my book. And I sit down with Sandy, who is this brilliant physician who like takes on these really difficult cases, but also like a pop culture phenomenon who has celebrity fans like Kim Kardashian and Chrissy Teigen, and how she wants to hang out with Val. She wants to hang out with Val Greenberg. Guess what? I'm awesome. And I want everybody that reads this book to recognize that they're awesome. And I want you to develop your own confidence community. So it could be, you know, the person that you talk to every single morning that you go get your coffee from, to the person that you go out and run your 10K with, to the person that you work with, to the person that is your, you know, your confidant, your cousin, whoever it may be. Build that confidence community. We all need it. It's just a fun term I came up with, and it's in chapter 1. I actually introduced you to all these people, and all these people are people that I didn't come from connections.
Yeah.
And carving a path for myself in the television and media landscape as a lifestyle expert that goes on TV and talks about trends, I've had the pleasure and the honor of meeting all these cool people, and these are people that I've become friends with over the past 20 years of, you know, building this business of mine, you know, as a lifestyle expert, TV host, and now author. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And every single one of them has just like made me better. And I'm so grateful. There's 15 people in it. Yeah.
That's cool.
But keep building your confidence community. It's limitless. Like the number of people. And by the way, if you only have one person right now that is, you know, worthy of the space, that's okay. You don't have to have 1,000 people.
Well, what would make them worthy? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Somebody that's worthy is somebody that wants the best for you genuinely, period. Now, you can definitely have different insights. By the way, you can have all different types of friends. You can have different friends that see the world from a different perspective, a different view. But like at the end of the day, like your core values, and I'm not talking about religion or the way you look at politics. I have all different types of friends from all walks of life with all different finances and all different, you know, opinions and personalities. But at the end of the day, do they want to see Valerie soar? And that's it. That's how you start. And you know who genuinely, and by the way, if somebody doesn't necessarily want to see you in a good place, that just means they're not good with themselves. And it's okay to say, I don't need this person in my confidence community.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Not everyone has to be included in your safe space. It's important to treat everyone with respect, but you know, save your energy for those that deserve it.
For sure.
Those are members of my confidence
I
community.
love that. I love that. Hey, so one of the questions that I always ask every author that hops on the show is essentially like, if someone could read this front to back, when someone reads it front to back, what's the one thing that you wish they would take away from it? But I've already heard you answer this on another podcast, so I'm not going to ask that question. I'm just going to let...
You're amazing. I love you. Do your research.
You have to. You have to. You said to love yourself. That was your answer. In short, is that still the one thing you want people to take away from it?
Yeah, truly. I also want people to recognize that connecting with others is literally so powerful and can create so many opportunities. Because at the end of the day, that's like where I excel, is helping other people connect. And the strategies that you will learn in this book, how to walk up to the most powerful person in the room, how to be like, okay, you've got this, even if it's uncomfortable, in terms of like looking up and saying hello to the person in front of you. You really have no idea the profound effects of positivity and opportunities you can create for yourself when you connect with others. And we happen to be in New York City, where there's like so many people everywhere and so many people do lots of different things. But I am telling you, like being open, people think it's weird to like connect with a stranger. It is not. Like, and those few like odd moments that you'll have where people like won't be open to it, it's okay. Like I go up to people on the street with bookmarks and I'm like, hi, do you like self-help books? Okay, well, maybe 5% of people aren't receptive to me. Don't worry about the people that aren't receptive to connecting, because when you are, for the most part, I'm telling you, the results will be great and you can achieve so much and you can learn about yourself. And it's kind of like just another way you should pat yourself on the back because you did something good for yourself. You tried something new.
I love that. I love that. I always ask these questions, but before doing so, You've Been Validated is in the show notes in the description of this to make sure that you're grabbing your copy, as well as Val's like socials and all of the other good stuff. It's in the show notes in the description. I ask these 3 questions as we leave every interview here. First one is a hypothetical. If we knew what you know, how would our lives be different?
Wow. You would literally be creating opportunities for yourself and meeting so many different people because literally, like, don't just focus on your inner circle and friendship, because little interactions with people that you don't necessarily have to, they don't have to become your best friend, but these small interactions, you'll see all of like the positive high vibrational energy and the way that your day will be affected, like by making just short connections like in the moment, but also being able to nurture relationships like the way that I've done over the years, whether from a business standpoint or like a personal friendship. For example, like the follow-up is something that I like to share. So not everything is overnight. It takes so much time. Like writing this book was like over a 15-year process. I kid you not. And wanting instantaneous results, getting good with the fact that it is not linear and it's going to take time, but being open to like seeing that is how you're going to get like to your final product. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. And like all these connections that you have over the years and how you stay in touch with people can amount to like so many opportunities for yourself. So yeah.
How do you know what relationship to nurture?
Well, how are you being treated by this person? And sometimes, you know, again, we're all in like different work scenarios and different personal relationships and have different love interests. But at the end of the day, it's all about who's respecting you, who is adding value to your life. And I think that's pretty much all. Like if someone's respecting you and adding value to your life, then that's how you know to nurture something.
Okay. Well, what if you want to get to a place of adding value or vice versa? Like,
sure. So it's interesting because one of the, I was on Inside Edition for 4 years and that opportunity came up, obviously all of the legwork and like all of the work I had done in my life to get to a point, and you'll read about that in the book. But showing up for yourself and showing up last minute when somebody's going to say to you, there's an opportunity, you got to jump at it. You got to say yes. You don't just say, oh my gosh, you got to take ego out of things. And I think that like taking a step back and realizing when you remove ego from something, and it's okay to be like, listen, I'm here. Like, it's okay if your regular person can't do it. Like, I'll jump in at the chance to do it. Like, take that ego out of that. Wait, ask me that question one more time.
I don't remember where, but exactly. I got you with I got you with another question.
Okay, yeah.
How do you take ego out of it?
Yes. We'll take ego out of things because you gotta take, things aren't personal. Like I think that's honestly the best thing I've ever learned, because now if someone says no to me, like I know that I am talented, I know that I am capable. It is not a reflection of my value or what I can create or accomplish. So the minute that you recognize that like you're good, and I've proven that to myself over and over and over again, I show myself with every opportunity I've created for myself, for something as big as the book to, you know, something as small as like taking a step in picking up the phone and making a cold call to try to create something. And I think that nurturing the relationships over time, it's like knowing how often to follow up. And that, that's circling back. So you take the ego out of it by recognizing things are not personal. And once you recognize that, and how do you recognize things are not personal? Because people just don't care enough about you. People want to get things done. So stop overanalyzing and just keep moving forward. But then second of all, like in terms of the follow-up, I think that if you have something of value to share, and not necessarily like, I'll give you a perfect example. On this book tour and all the PR that I've been doing, a lot of it I've been able to secure on my own. So that's me proving to myself, okay, one show says yes, another one doesn't answer back yet. Doesn't mean it's a no. Guess what? When I have a really big accomplishment that I can show them that I did, that's what I share. So that's a perfect time to follow up. That's a perfect way to nurture the relationship, because now all these other podcasts are going to come running after this amazing podcast with you airs. That's when you check in. Yeah. You know?
I love that.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. And I think of value that people can utilize right out the gate.
I love that. That's super. Hey, connections are, I mean, like, they've changed my life, literally, in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Right. And even you walking in, you're just like, hey, I know this person, you know this person. Like, it's a very small world. And it goes such a long way. And especially being in New York or wherever anyone is.
Right.
Like I could sit here and it sounds like you share the same sentiment. I wouldn't be where I am without the people that I have in my life.
Right. But that's also because you're a good person and treat them with respect. And you need to be okay with patting yourself on the back and saying that to yourself.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
And I love that. And that's how you continue to grow.
Yeah.
And you continue to glow, as I like to call it. But also, I want people to recognize that it's not just about, oh my God, I need to get to the most powerful person in the room. Like I talk about that in the book. But sometimes the person with the least amount of power might have the most powerful effect on you.
So that's really good. How do you adopt that mindset, right? I work with a lot of people that want to get to the top, like get to the top person all the time,
Right.
Get to the top person.
So many people think that way.
And I respect it because I do too.
Sure.
Right? Like I think that is like, go for it, shoot for the stars, whatever it is.
Yes, absolutely. That's important too.
But at the same time, I love that you're sharing is like, I'm using a video game reference with a woman, but like you have to defeat the boss of the level you're on.
Right. But also it's so interesting because like I have a prime example in my book. Like I got on this show Inside Edition. I was on it for 4 years. It changed my life. It changed my income. I became a member of SAG-AFTRA. Like I had a regular gig for so long. I grew like a tremendous amount. I made so many new friends. God, it was incredible. And guess what? The person that literally like painted a clear picture and made things come to fruition was the lowest person on the totem pole that basically made the highest person on the totem pole realize that I had already been approved for the show because they had booked me on a segment like years prior. And that's the person that connected the dots. And that person remains incredibly important to me in this day and age in my life, is a dear friend. He knows who he is. He has since, really like got to the next level in his career. But guess what? That is not surprising to me at all because he wanted to make sure that I had this opportunity. And he wanted to connect the dots regardless of what level he was at. Yeah. And look, that just got him to the next level. So sometimes you give genuinely and then you get. And I'll never forget that. I believe that it's really important to give credit where credit's due to people. Yeah. And that's a person, he changed my life. And it wasn't like he was like trying to, oh my God, I'm going to change Val's life. But like seeing that beautiful thing happen to me is like such an important part of my journey. And he really did.
For sure. I definitely have people that I could literally sit there and say like, hey, that one small thing you did for me
was so huge.
Changed. Yes. That's so cool. That is so cool.
So if we like think about those moments, I just think it's such a positive way to like get our brain stimulated and like focus on like anything is possible. Yeah. Anything can happen. Yeah. Yeah. It's an exciting life we live.
It is. I love it. Val, where should we point people in the direction to? Obviously the book that's in the show notes, Instagram, anywhere else.
Absolutely. My Instagram is at Val Greenberg, BERG, at Val Greenberg. My TikTok, where you can catch me running up to people on the street and talking about their value and helping them recognize theirs, is at The Real Val Greenberg. So I'm growing that, and I appreciate everybody helping me do that. And my website, you'vebeenvalidated.com. But please, please, please pick up You've Been Validated, a playbook for confidence and connection, because I promise you there are so many takeaways that will make your life better and the people around you's lives better.
I love it. All of those links are going to be in the description in the show note, but I'm going to ask you one last question here. Yes. If you could make it to whatever year you want to live to, sell as many books, impact as many people, do small things that become huge things for whoever in this world, but you could only be remembered for one piece of advice, not how you want to be remembered. But if I think of Val, this is the piece of advice on the snap of a finger that I think of that's attached to your name. What's that advice?
Recognize that you have value, and your value can be shared with the world to affect others positively.
Why is that?
It's because we're all special and we're all unique. And if you nurture who you are and all of your natural attributes, they will continue to stay alive and grow. The seed will just continue to blossom and will touch all those around you because it's genuine, it's heartfelt. And if you live your life that way, more good will just keep on glowing and growing.
I love it. Val, thank you so much for this. This was awesome.
Oh my gosh, you've been validated.
I've been validated.
Woo!
I love it.